There are fighters who win titles, and there are fighters who rewrite history. Oleksandr Usyk belongs to the second category. Undisputed champion at Cruiserweight, undisputed champion at heavyweight, the first to achieve it in the four-belt era. He's fighting again this Saturday. But before we see what's coming, we need to understand how he got here. This is the story of the most dominant heavyweight in the world. Usyk was born in Simferopol, a quiet port city on the shores of the Black Sea. As a child, his passion was soccer. Quick feet, constant movement. The field was his escape. But his father, a disciplined man shaped by military life, saw something restless in his son and signed him up for the boxing gym. It was the best decision he ever made. 335 victories as an amateur, only 15 losses. An amateur career that was a masterpiece of timing, adaptability, and control. And the crowning moment came in London 2012, Olympic gold. No doubt about it. But behind the triumph there was pain. The man who took him to the gym for the first time, the one who gave him structure and taught him to believe in himself. His father passed away just days after the games, and the gold medal didn't go on any shelf. It was placed in his coffin. That pain never left him, but it didn't weaken him either. It turned him into the quietest weapon that Usyk carried into every ring, every round, every war that would come after. Only 10 professional fights, and he was already fighting for the world title. With that alone, he broke Evander Holyfield's record. He'd also beat all his opponents by knocking them out. Now his opponent was the Polish Krzysztof Glowacki, an undefeated WBO champion, and the fight was in Poland, enemy territory. Usyk didn't blink. From the first round, Usyk took control with his southpaw jab that kept breaking up the champion's rhythm. Glowacki tried to press, brawl, drag Usyk into chaos. He never managed to do it. Every time the Pole tried to come in, Usyk shut him down. Clean hands, constant angles, perpetual movement. The crowd in Poland hoped to see their champion win. What they saw was a masterclass. Unanimous decision. With only 10 professional fights, Oleksandr Usyk was a world champion, and 2 of his next 3 opponents wouldn't come out unscathed either. And this was just getting started. The World Boxing Super Series. A tournament of 8 elite fighters with all the belts on the line. The winner would take it all. In the semi-finals, Mairis Briedis was waiting, the Latvian nicknamed the Punisher, undefeated, holder of the World Boxing Council belt. fight was in Riga, his hometown, with the stadium packed with fans ready to see their champion defend his throne. From the first round, it was a tactical war fought at a relentless pace. He didn't just survive. He came to compete. His jab was solid. His right hands were clean, and in the early rounds he was holding his own against Usyk without any trouble. Even after a head clash in the third round that shook him, Bridis stayed on his feet. He kept pressing. He kept believing. It was high-level boxing for 12 full rounds. But in the championship rounds, Usyk found another level. His feet never stopped. His hands never rested. And in the final round, he settled the matter with a flurry of combinations that left the referee with no doubts. Unanimous decision, Usyk. 2 fights in the tournament, 2 victories, and in the final, the Russian Murat Gassiev was waiting. Moscow, July 2018, the grand final of the World Boxing Super Series, and the stakes couldn't be higher. On the opposite side was Murat Gassiev, Russian, 26 victories, 19 by knockout, the second favorite of the tournament, a pure puncher with power in both hands who had crushed everyone who stood in his way. And the fight was in Moscow, in the heart of Russia. 3 additional belts at stake besides 6 WBO belt, WBA, IBF, and the Ring Magazine belt. All or nothing. From the first round, Usyk turned the fight into a boxing lesson. While Gassiev loaded up his power punches, looking for the knockout, Usyk danced around him with footwork that seemed almost unfair for a cruiserweight. The Russian swung at the air. Usyk answered him with combinations from 3 different angles. In the 4th round, Gassiev landed a clean right hand, which momentarily caught everyone's attention. For a second, it seemed like the Russian had found the formula. That was his only moment of hope, because Usyk took it in, adjusted, and kept going as if nothing had happened. The pattern kept repeating each round. He fired single bombs. Usyk responded with flurries from multiple levels. The Russian tried to corner the Ukrainian. Usyk slipped away and counterattacked. In the final round, Usyk threw 95 punches in 3 minutes, almost triple Gassiev's output. The stadium in Moscow, which had started the night roaring for its fighter, gradually fell silent round after round. Unanimous decision. Usyk. All the belts. The Muhammad Ali Trophy. Oleksandr Usyk became the first undisputed cruiserweight champion in the four-belt era. Only the second in history after Evander Holyfield. Before moving up to heavyweight, Usyk wanted one last dance at cruiserweight, and Tony Bellew volunteered. The Englishman was not a pushover. He had 30 wins and had knocked out David Hyde twice. He arrived with confidence and with a very clear promise that he had the punch that could put Usyk's lights out at any moment, and you have to give him credit for something. In the first rounds, Bellew delivered. He boxed smart, stayed composed, won some rounds on the scorecards, and for a moment made the audience believe that this fight was going to be much tougher than everyone expected. But Usyk was gathering data, observing, calculating, waiting for the exact moment. By the 7th round, the gap in class was undeniable. Usyk had found his rhythm. His left hooks were starting to land more frequently and with more precision. And then the blow came. A devastating left hook that instantly put Bellew's lights out. The Englishman fell to the floor and didn't get up. Brutal knockout. Usyk's last act at cruiserweight. A brutal farewell that reminded the world that the most technical man in boxing could also finish fights in the most violent way possible. The heavyweight division was warned. The move to heavyweight raised immediate doubts. Was he too small? Could his technical style survive against much bigger and heavier men? Derek Chisora came to answer those questions in the most brutal way possible. The Englishman was a true heavyweight. 23 knockouts, 32 victories. A history of knockouts in the ring that had made the best in the division suffer. And he outweighed Usyk by 38 pounds. Chisora didn't come to box. He came to destroy. From the start, the Englishman pressed non-stop. Wild hooks. Body shots that echoed throughout the arena. Right overhands, coming from every... For the first time, Usyk seemed uncomfortable. The weight was real, the size difference was real, and Chisora was dragging him into deep waters, right where he wanted to drown him. Usyk never panicked. By the fourth round, he had found his rhythm. He started reading Chisora's attacks, dodging them, punishing him every time he overextended. And as the rounds went on, Chisora's weight started to work against him. All that muscle was wearing him out. By the final rounds, Chisora was throwing bombs, but most of them were blocked. Usyk landed his left hand and right hook, helping him win rounds consecutively. Unanimous decision. Usyk. The first real test at heavyweight passed, and the road to the throne was clear. September 2021, London, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 66,000 tickets sold out in record time. On the other side was Anthony Joshua, the unified champion with 3 belts, Olympic gold medalist in super heavyweight, 24 wins and 22 knockouts. Britain's overwhelming favorite. A man who had retired Vladimir Klitschko. He had avenged his sole loss to Andy Ruiz. The favorite was Joshua, by far. At the press conference, Usyk showed up dressed as the Joker. Joshua didn't realize he was about to be part of a very costly joke. From the first round, Usyk imposed his will. Southpaw jab, angles, pivots, constant movement. Joshua was waiting for the perfect punch. Usyk kept tagging him with 1, 2, 3, 4 punches, while the Englishman was still thinking about his plan. By the 9th round, Joshua's right eye was almost closed. In the 12th round, Usyk settled the argument. He pressed forward. Clean combinations. He pinned the champion to the ropes, showing who was in charge. Unanimous decision. Usyk, a former cruiserweight, had just dethroned the unified heavyweight champion in front of 66,000 English fans. All of Ukraine came to a standstill in celebration. And the boxing world had to rewrite its rankings in just one night. The rematch came a year later. Saudi Arabia. 6 titles on the line, including retired Tyson Fury's lineal champion status. Joshua had done his homework. He came in with a different plan, more aggressive, more physical. Willing to use his size and his body punching power to change the course of history. And in the early rounds it worked. Joshua came out attacking the body from the very first second. Shots to the liver. Right hands that made Usyk back up. A more determined and more dangerous version of Joshua than the one who lost the first fight. But Usyk had also done his homework. While Joshua pressured Usyk, he responded with his left hand, with a consistency that was almost hypnotic. A jab here, a combination there, always finding the right angle. By the 9th round, Joshua found his best moment of the night. He gained confidence, pressed harder, and for a moment, it seemed like the story was going to change. But Usyk responded immediately. In the 10th round, he threw 39 punches in 3 minutes, almost double Joshua's output in the most important round of the fight. For the final rounds, Usyk returned to his precise and devastating dance. Clean combinations, constant movement, Joshua holding on but without answers. In the end, Usyk landed 170 punches against Joshua's 124. Split decision. But the right one. Usyk had won both fights, and Joshua couldn't hold himself back. He threw the belts on the floor and left the ring furious. Then he came back and gave a strange monologue in front of the cameras, talking about strength versus skill. Usyk watched him from the ring with a grim look on his face. With that victory, Usyk became the 3rd person in history to unify titles in 2 different weight divisions. But there was still one king left to dethrone. Tyson Fury. The negotiation for this fight was a war in itself. Fury was demanding a 70-30 split of the purse. He insulted Usyk in every interview. He called him a sausage. He called him a rabbit. Usyk didn't respond with words. He waited. Finally, with the financial backing of Saudi Arabia, the fight became a reality. May of 2024. Riyadh. What was at stake was historic. The first undisputed heavyweight champion since Lennox Lewis, the first in the 4-belt era. And for Usyk, the chance to become the first man to be undisputed champion in 2 different divisions. Fury arrived quietly at the final press conference. There were no more insults. There were no more antics. He knew what was coming. From the opening rounds, it was Fury who set the pace. The Gypsy King used his size and reach to control the distance. Body shots that echoed in the desert. Each blow drew a grimace from Usyk. but never a step back. By the 9th round, Usyk forced the change. A brutal right hand broke through Fury's guard and sent him staggering toward the ropes. The referee almost stopped the fight. Fury clung to the ropes with the desperation of someone who knows they're about to fall. He survived, but in the final rounds it was Usyk who was in control. Clean, calculated punches, breaking the rhythm and spirit of the Gypsy King. Split decision. Oleksandr Usyk became the first undisputed heavyweight champion in the four-belt era and dedicated the victory to someone very special, his father. The man who took him to the gym for the first time, the one who wasn't there to see the Olympic gold, the one who also wasn't there to see this. But according to Usyk, he was there anyway. 6 months after becoming the undisputed champion, the first defense came, and the challenger had unfinished business. In the first fight, Dubois believed he was robbed by a controversial low blow, and since that day, he built a devastating streak that culminated with a knockout of Anthony Joshua at Wembley in front of 90,000 people. He was no longer the same insecure prospect. He came in with a chip on his shoulder and a hunger for revenge, but Usyk had an answer for everything. Faster, more precise, smarter. A devastating punch sent Dubois to the canvas when the Englishman desperately tried to turn the fight around. Usyk retained the undisputed title, from a gym in San Fierro Simferopolis to the biggest rings in the world. Usyk dominated the Cruiserweight division. He moved to heavyweight despite everyone's doubts. He dethroned Joshua twice, he defeated Fury, and he remains undefeated. The first to be undisputed champion in 2 divisions in the four-belt era.